Alright, we've got to talk about NFL free agency because this year has been ridiculous. With the amount of stars that have moved to new teams, it's hard to get an idea of how the season is going to go for anyone. But since we've got some downtime right before the draft, I wanted to take a minute to embarrass myself with some early hot takes that almost certainly won't age well. For now, I'm just going to talk about the AFC because really that's where most of the action happened. And since not every team in the AFC made a major move, I'm just going to go by division instead of throwing out a random prediction for all 16 teams. Before we get into it, please keep in mind that these are supposed to be hot takes, so I might be reaching a little more than I should, and while I believe that all of these can happen, I don't think they all will. With that said, let's get into it. Starting with the AFC East, as much as recent trades might want to give Dolphins fans hope, the Bills are still the team to beat in the East, and I don't really think there's a competition. So while we probably won't be crowning a new champion in the East this season, I do think we'll be seeing a new face at the bottom. I have the New England Patriots placing last in the division this year, just 1 year removed from their playoff appearance. The success of last year's Patriots team always felt kind of fluky to me, and that playoff loss to Buffalo really drove it home. They haven't made any big moves. They lost their best defensive player. It just doesn't look good. At the very least, I'm 100% confident that the Dolphins are going to pass them. And the case for the Jets is kind of there too. Zach Wilson's poised to take a huge step forward this season, and Mac Jones seems like he could be at his ceiling already. I don't want to get too much into that, but it's a possibility. Now, don't take this as me saying the Jets are going to be good. I just think the Pats are going to fall off hard. Alright, now we've got the AFC West, and I just want to get this one out of the way. This is the year the Chiefs get dethroned from the top of the AFC West. I don't know who's going to do it. My gut kind of says the Chargers, but with this division now as loaded as it is, it can really be anyone. And I know that kind of seems like a cop-out answer, but every team in the division has made just such huge improvements, besides the Chiefs, who lost their best receiver. They're still going to be a great team, and their experience will probably carry them to a good playoff run, but they're going to get upset in the division rankings, for sure. And this take is shorter than the other, but with good reason. We're going to come back to the AFC West later in the video. Up next, we've got the AFC South, and the table was set this season for the Titans to make their playoff run, right? They came in as the 1 seed, they got Derrick Henry back just in time, and they had both of their star receivers on the field together for what seemed like the first time all season. And then what happened? They put up only 16 points against a middle-of-the-pack defense and lost. This proves to me once and for all that Ryan Tannehill is just not a winning quarterback. Him and the Titans have kind of just gotten by because the rest of the division also didn't have a winning quarterback. Unfortunately for them, that's not the case anymore. Remember that Colts team that won 9 games last year with Carson Wentz? You know, they had the current rushing leader, great defense, great O-line. Yeah, they also have Matt Ryan now, and you can say what you want about the guy in his old age, but he's an apparent upgrade over Wentz, and a big enough one to put the Colts on top of the division this year. And finally, you know we had to end with the North because, after all, it's home to the defending AFC champ. And while nobody's doubting Joe Burrow's ability, I think a lot of people are questioning if that team's really complete enough to make it back to the Super Bowl. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in this upcoming season. Now, my opinion is probably similar to many others when I say that no, they won't make it back to the Super Bowl this season. Where my opinion starts to split off from others is when I say that the Cincinnati Bengals don't even make the playoffs this season. And it sounds crazy to hear, right? But is it actually? Let's look at the division. The Browns are the obvious frontrunner in my opinion, and while people are quick to discredit the Ravens after their disappointing season, they were one of the most injured teams in football last year. You can't deny that it played a major part in their shortcomings. I think that they're competitive again this year now that their team's all healthy. And the same goes for the Steelers, who actually made the playoffs last year even with the ghost of Ben Roethlisberger at QB. And while Mitch Trubisky might not look like an upgrade on paper, all he has to do is be better than 2021 Ben, which is a low bar. In fact, just as a little bonus hot take, I think with the weapons he has at his disposal in Pittsburgh, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Mitch could be a top 12 quarterback this year. The Bengals are a great team, but they still have some obvious flaws. I think they're going to place last in the North, and it's going to go down as one of the worst Super Bowl hangovers of all time. And now that I've given one hot take for each division, I have one final hot take for the entire AFC. Remember when I said we'd come back to the AFC West? Here it is. Since a few years ago, they changed the rules and now there's 3 wildcard spots for each conference, meaning technically it's possible for an entire division to make the playoffs. I think this year is the best chance we have to see it happen. My final hot take is that the entire AFC West will make the playoffs. The Chiefs, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Chargers. They're all going to be there. The West is stacked and I can see any of the 4 teams winning. So instead of picking and choosing which team's going to come out of the division, let's just say that they all do. Easy enough, right? And that's all I've got for now. I admit some of these are kind of off the walls, but what's the fun in making the easy picks? Like I said, I don't think all of these are going to come true, but it wouldn't shock me if a few of them did. So if you enjoyed this, feel free to let me know, and if you didn't, I guess you can tell me that too.